Welcome back to another episode of Akau TV. Unfortunately, the rain really set in over the last weekend, so we had very minimal runners that took place over the countryside, but we had some exciting horses running at Flemington on Saturday with the Melbourne stable. Some 2-year-olds really ran well, in particular Flash of Class. I thought she was very genuine and she'll come on from that performance, and Azazel was terrific in the superimpose. He looks to be a top Victorian Derby chance coming up. And then the one winner for the week was on Wednesday, a 2-year-old by Exceed and Excel that we paid $240,000 for at the Magic Million sale off the Good Farm at Wooden Stud, called With a Vengeance. He was a horse that we did struggle to sell, but he always showed us potential as soon as he came in the stables, and it was great to see him put that form from those trials on race day and just be far too good for his opposition. Starting off at Taupo, where we have a big amount of runners, we've got the classy and hopeful stallion in the making, Hostility, taking place in race 2. He's drawn a little bit of a sticky barrier, but he's got class on his side. Not often ready to runners come out and place in the size produce in March, 4 months after being purchased, so he's certainly got the ability there. His work's been very sharp. Obviously things just didn't go his way at Ellerslie, but he's trained on well. We're very happy with the way he looks. He will need a good ride from Craig Grills, but he's riding incredibly well, so we're very pleased to have him on. And then also in the same race we've got Belle Cheval. Absolute honour to have these colours in the stable. Look, she's drawn a nice barrier, and she's from a really quick family. Obviously she's a half to It's the Bostonian, who was a very good sprinter in New Zealand a couple of years ago, so she's got the pedigree for the trip. Look, from the draw you'd like to see a midfield bit of cover. Whatever she does do on Friday, she's certainly going to improve off, but we're very pleased with where she's at. And then we move to race 3, High Roller. He's just a horse that you just put a pencil straight through that last start. It was not his fault whatsoever. He just got caught into a lot of carnage, but he's trained on well. He's got the right draw. Woodamoo Pin absolutely adores the horse, so expect to see a better horse today. Then we move to race 4, King's English, another really nice colt that we have a lot of time for. He's got the pedigree, and he backed it up with a really good effort first up. He's taken natural improvement from it. We've put the shades on him. He's really turned on since we've done that to him. From a nice barrier, you'd expect to see him there or thereabouts in the running, and if he can bring that form from his first up assignment, he should be very, very good chance. And then we move to race 5, another horse owned by a brilliant stud in New Zealand, probably one of the best people who are producing yearlings and horses going forward in Wentwood Grange, Shania. She's trialled up really nicely. Her last trial was very satisfying, and she just kept on improving. Look, she'll need the run today, but whatever she does do, she certainly will take a lot of improvement from. Then we move on to race 6, the 2 really exciting fillies going forward, Presence of Mind and Sibling Rivalry. Very hard to split the two of them. They've both trialled up really well. Obviously, Presence of Mind's had that race day start, which will be key. The 1,000 metres on pedigree should be a bit short for both of them going forward, but they're very well placed in their horses to follow throughout the whole season. Then we move into race 7, the Open 1300, where we've got a lot of contenders. Unfortunately, just with the only decent track surface we've been able to find, we've ended up with this many runners. But we start off with the top Wild Knight. He's going really well. His work's been terrific. He galloped the house down Foxbridge Plate Day. That's how long we've been waiting with him. But he's going the right way. And then we move to Taliska. He's a horse that just kept on improving last season. It was really good to see him really run good races and strong form races. So you obviously need one run to get under his belt, but it looks an ideal race to kick him off in. And then what you wish for, a horse that really put his hand up last season, and he's going really well. Obviously the 1300 metres looks a bit short of his best, but he races very well fresh, so I expect a really big performance. And then you got Captured by Love, just an absolute standout filly last season. Obviously things didn't go to plan first up at Ellerslie, but she's trained on really well since then. Back left-handed, down in the weights, Woodamoo Pin on, who's ridden her really, really well in the past, is a massive bonus. And then Trowbridge, and fortunate enough, he's got off the ballot, so he's in the race. Obviously from that draw you'll be able to sit into a nice position just in behind the speed. Bruno Quarez takes the ride. He's a very good rider, getting horses out of the barriers. So we've got 5 really nice chances there. Obviously most of them, or 3 of them, are first up after a really long spell, who will probably benefit from a run, but the 2 that are really there to have a good watch on is Captured by Love and Trobriand, so really looking forward to that. And then we move to race 8, the 65 1100. We've got 3 competitive chances, again starting with Cool and Fast. He's a horse that ran really well, we thought, at Ellerslie after a really long time off, nearly 2 years. So after that, having that run, he's had a good amount of time to get over it. He's trained on well, very pleased. The 1100 metres suits him. And then also Knowledge is Power, obviously a ride that Opie will be wanting to forget on the poly last time out. Just no luck whatsoever, but really has trained on nicely, so we're very happy with the way he's looking. Obviously does need to put his hand up, but he's raced in very competitive races in the past and proved that he's certainly worth it. And then Maricopa Falls is first up of her new season, has trialled 3 times, so she's really forward and ready to go. From that draw, she should get a nice soft run in transit, really much down in the weights, being a 3-year-old filly in the 65 grade, but we're very pleased with where she's at and expect a really big performance. And then in race 9, capping off our runners at Taupo, is I'm a Dirty Rascal, a horse that he finished off okay at Te Rapa last time out. The step up to 2600 metres is going to be ideal. Sam McNabb did have a hell of a lot of time pulling him up at Te Rapa, so as we all know, the step up and trip is ideal. And we've gone back for the senior rider. He's just an older horse that's just got a few tricks up his sleeve now, so we'll try and outsmart him a bit with that. But he's certainly one to put in your multis going forward when he gets over even more. So this coming Saturday we have runners only in Ashburton, so the sole meeting for us this weekend in New Zealand. And we start off with a very promising King's Legacy gelding we brought out of the Ready to Run sale nearly 12 months ago, called One True King. He's been a horse that's just continued to improve and develop throughout his whole campaign with us, and we're very happy with the way he's got to the South Island, bounced straight in the routine. He's a big, strong, real scopy sort of horse that looks to be a horse that'll get a mile and even 2,000 metres in time. Unfortunately, the draw hasn't played in his favour, so we'll just have to ride him where he lands. Just have to not go in with any game plan. We're lucky enough to have Bruno Quarez aboard him. He's a very good rider that's made a massive impact since arriving in New Zealand, so very fortunate to have him aboard. But obviously he needs luck from that draw, but if he can get it, we're adamant he's a top 4 chance. Then we move to Shockabella. She's a filly, well, mare now, that's had her barrier issues and her issues along the way, but she's trialled up really well. She's arrived in the South Island in terrific order. Sometimes getting them into a different environment really can turn them around, and off her work we do believe this has happened. Unfortunately she's come up with a sticky barrier as well, but being a daughter of Shocking, the 1400 metres looks to be a bit short of her best, so expect to see her running on and be finishing off, and once she gets over more ground in time you'll see her winning. Court of Appeal then takes place in the Open 2200. She's in terrific order. I thought her run last time out had a lot of staying potential to it. So the step up to 2-2 on Saturday is going to be ideal for her. To drop in weight too is also key. And also a big plus is having Bruno Quarez back on. He's very good at getting horses out of the barriers. She's had a few barrier issues this preparation, so hopefully we can get into a forward position from that draw. And I do believe she's the best stayer in the race, and it's a really good race for us to continue on towards that New Zealand Cup. Then we move on to Insatiable. He's first up. He's got an excellent first up record, so very pleased with the way he's trialled heading into it. He's drawn a nice soft alley, so he should be able to just box seat from that draw, but obviously needs the luck when we need it to get out of there, but we do think he's going the right way and expect him to run very well. Then we move on to Cognito, a horse that's come back in terrific order. He had a bit of spinal surgery since last season and has really just turned him around. He's put 2 really good efforts together and back to the mile, but being 4 weeks between races is going to hold no concerns for him. Vinnie Colgan takes the ride. He's ridden the horse very well in the past, so we're very pleased to have him on. And as long as he gets the right run in transit, he'll be very competitive again. He does find himself in a very strong race, but we do think he's beaten the majority of these and he can do it again. Then we move on to the Barneswood Farm, the main race of the weekend for the team, where we are represented by 3 top chances, starting with Cool as a Rain. She was very luckless in the Canterbury Bell, has trialled since and trialled really well. Obviously the big concern is the 1400 metres, but from a really soft alley she'll have no concerns whatsoever, having every opportunity to get it, but obviously it is in the back of our minds. But she's a very tough horse, so expect her to be there for a long way, just whether she can run out that trip. Then we move on to Belle de Monde. who was it was very concerning in the Canterbury Bell. She did get checked really badly at the top of the straight. She did have 2-week turnaround after a long time off between races. That she did have a little bit against her, but she's trained on well. Bit of time between that run into this one has been ideal. Drawn nicely, Vinnie Colgan back on. We'll just ride her quietly, give her every opportunity to relax the 1400 metres again. They've got to run it out as 3-year-olds, but we'd love to see her hitting the line strongly and head towards 1,000 guineas. We really have a lot of time for her. And then we move on to Origin of Love, arguably the best looking horse in the country. She's absolutely beautiful, and she matched that last time out when winning at Riccarton. It was a very tough effort. Obviously, you would have liked to have seen her step up to a mile, but the 1400 metres with a bit of freshness in her legs is ideal for her. Jasmine Fawcett keeps the ride, so we'll look to try and slot in for a bit of cover midfield, but she's going really well, so expect her to put her hand up again. And then we move on to Vivacious in the last. Unfortunately, Opie Boston got suspended on Saturday. We haven't been able to fulfill a jockey for another engagement, but she's in good order. Unfortunately, the draw doesn't help us either, so we'll just see how things pan out on Saturday. She does have a lot against her, whether we just wait a week or two for her. Maricopa Falls takes her place at Rotorua, so she is in it Friday at Taupo, but we all understand how tracks are working at the moment, so that's more just for precaution. Ideally, we'd love to be at Taupo on Friday. So if she was to take place at Rotorua, she's obviously going really well. Her trials have been excellent. She's been ready to go for a while. Just tracks and draws have been completely against us, but she's drawn nicely. Bruno Quarez on again. He's a very good rider, so very pleased to have him on, and she's got good gate speed, so expect her to be very genuine. But as I said, she'll be taking place on Friday, all going well. Then we move on to Huckinen in the 65 1400. He won't be there on Sunday. He's drawn wide. He's got a big weight. There's a race at Ellerslie for him the following weekend, so we'll sit on him. He's going really well, and he's one certainly to follow throughout the season. And then we move to the 75 1400, where we have two take their place, two very promising types going forward. Accidental Tourist, he's had 2 runs back since a really long layoff, and he should be peaking third up. He's drawn nicely for what the track should be, and that claim with Sage Duricon to bring his weight down to 56.5 kilos is vital. He's raced very well at Rotorua in the past, so expect him to bounce back being third up. And then we move on to El Viento. He's a horse that we have a lot of time for. He's just had a few issues along the way, but his action at home shows us that he can handle the wet going, so we've got no concerns there. Warren Kennedy gets on with him really well. Second up is ideal. Expect him to be right in the finish. So a really busy weekend ahead for the South Island team, not so much for our North Island base, but one to watch for me this coming weekend would be Beldemonde. I think she's a filly that has a lot of X factor and can certainly bounce back, and the best of the day there would have to be Cognito with the form he's bringing into it. Thanks again, everybody, for viewing this, and we'll see you again next week.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's version of Akau TV from across the ditch. We've got a busy Friday night coming up, Ben.
Yeah, hey guys, we do. We've got 4 runners this weekend. We've got 3 runners on Friday night at Cranbourne, so excited to have a filly debut for Aussie here and his connections called Future Frankie. She's a Frankel filly out of a deep impact mare, so incredibly well bred. She's sort of a small filly in stature, but she's got a lot of heart, so we're debuting her over a mile with sort of the future in mind of getting her out in trip and hopefully setting her up for a good autumn campaign off the back of one run this spring. You never know, she might go on to win one, but she's a promising filly. And then we've got our first horse running for the GG's connections. So GG Gemstone, he'll have his first race over here in Australia in the Apache Classic, and draws a soft gate, barrier 2. It's a competitive enough field, all evenly rated, but we're hoping he can bounce away and sit in behind the speed. And tried up really good on a rain affected track, which he doesn't like, so I think back on a good fall we'll see him run a big race at 10 to 1. I think he's a good chance. And then we go to the next race, the Pinka Plate, and we've got a mare called Jealous who ran first up for us at Sandown and flashed home, ran some really good sectionals and look like she'll lead up 2,000 metres. So she gets in that with Luke Cartwright claiming 1.5, and she'll get down in the weights, and I think she can settle close to speed and run a big race as well. So hopefully one of those three can run a race and win on Friday night for us. They're all sort of around that $7 to $10 mark, and I certainly think that one of them can run a bottler.
Leading into Saturday, we've just got the one at Caulfield in the Toorak.
Yep, we've got our sassy little mare, Damask Rose here, who's going to sleep with ear scratches. Look, she's been forgotten in the market a little bit, which is a surprise, given her first up run was enormous. And she's still down in the weights. She now has 4 kilos off Sepples, who obviously won dominantly last start, and the market will respect, but she's drawn a soft gate. She'll finally get a nice run, midfield with cover. We'd love a little bit of rain. It says there's about 2 mil around, so hopefully that hits. Just to keep the juice in the track, we'd love it to still be a good 4 by the time she runs. But she's going to get a lovely run in behind them. Jamie Carr galloped her on the course proper here on Saturday and was thrilled with her. Gave her a really good chance, and they just run so well for Jamie. I think they'll get along well, and if the gaps can come at the right time, hopefully given the inside draw, we can see a similar up the inside type run as she had in the slot race. But this is definitely her best chance here in Australia to feature in a Group 1 and hopefully get our first Group 1 win for the season. It'd be nice. It'd be a big thrill for the team to have such a big result at this stage of the spring.